We're not meant to
Is
podcast.
it recording now? I think we've gone so long that I have just completely forgotten even how to record my own voice, let alone a podcast. I don't know what to do with myself anymore. March is almost over. Hey, everybody, and welcome to We Watch TV. It is the podcast about the TV that we watch. I am Daniel. She is Hope. This is episode 133 or 134.
It's 133.
Depending on how you want to count them.
How would they not count them?
Well, because you've sent me the notes for a bunch of...
Because we were supposed to podcast like weeks ago, and then we didn't. So this is from 133.
I'm not going to be able to remember half of the stuff we've talked that's on this list.
Guess who's back? Back again.
I don't even remember how to podcast
Daniel's
anymore.
back. Tell a friend. And
I would like to start the podcast by talking about a wonderful thing that happened yesterday. We were watching Malcolm in the Middle.
No.
And they were camping.
I told you this in confidence. I told you that we're not kicking things off with this. We're not. We'll save it for later in the episode. I can let you say it.
No.
It's not kicking off.
All right,
now they have something to look forward to.
Tease the folks as always. Okay.
Okay, it's been a while. It is March Madness is upon us.
I completely forgot.
I didn't forget, but I mean, I didn't forget, but like I don't care because why would a man be here? The women's tournament was where it was at. The WVU, the West Virginia women's team. Not only were they a 4 seed, but they got to host, I think somebody said, for like the first time since 1992, the first round games in Morgantown. And the fans showed up. West Virginia fans are hungry. They beat the pants off of Miami of Ohio, the other Miami.
It's just like Miami. What's the difference?
What's the difference? I don't even remember what that movie's from. Is it from Trainwreck? Because she was like with Amy Schumer. Where did we get that quote from?
Oh, the quote? LeBron said it. I think it was in a movie.
I know LeBron said it. But wasn't
he in a commercial though?
Wasn't she like a sports agent in the movie called Trainwreck? And
maybe, yeah, I think you might be right. And she was like,
somebody,
why don't you move it? And he was like, what's just like Ohio at Cleveland?
Somebody look this up.
I don't know.
He's like Miami. He's like it's the same thing or something. Yeah, because like I don't know. We don't know. Anyway, unfortunately, they lost yesterday, which would be Monday, March 23rd at the time of this recording, because I don't know when you guys are going to get this episode. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week, who knows. To stupid Kentucky. It's a canonic event that I just hate Kentucky.
That's their official name,
every March.
by the way. That's the legal name, Stupid
Kentucky. So that was fun to get a little involved, but yeah, like I didn't do a bracket. I'm still mad about last year. I think that's unrecorded for like the men, but
meanwhile, I was sitting in a work call and somebody is like, because you know how people get this time of year.
Yeah, people like take it off. It's like a holiday.
Somebody was like, hey, are all the TVs on at the office or some blah, blah, blah stuff? And I looked up and I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, March Madness. And I was like, oh.
The way I am with the Olympics, like people are like that, especially those first round games. If WVU hadn't been totally screwed over and then we lost our coach and everything was ruined and life was awful, I probably would have been invested in the men's side. But thankfully, once again, women don't let us down. And I'm very proud of the women's team. They kept that game. That was one of which, I mean, again, we're so used to heartbreak as the Mountaineers. But wouldn't you say our girls, first of all.
There were multiple moments in the game where it seemed like Kentucky might run away with it, but they pulled it back and kept it to a 1-point game. And really, honestly, like the last half second, down to the last half second, it mattered.
Wasn't it like 8 seconds or something that was left on the clock?
0.8
seconds
was left on the
nuts.
clock, and they had a chance to shoot for the win. So I mean, that's the best you can ask for,
especially in March Madness. It just stinks that Kentucky always has to ruin everything. But it was one of my greatest basketball memories, though, comes from when WVU beat Kentucky and the men we went to the Final Four. That was cool. When was that? Like 2010?
Been forever ago now.
It's like
3 lifetimes.
What does Andy say on The Office? Don't you wish you knew in the good old days that you were in the good old days? Is that the quote?
Yeah, something like that.
We're all over the place because it's been so long.
It's going to be a podcast slop kind of episode.
It could be madness, as one would say. Yeah, but I thought it was fun, at least getting to enjoy that,
So
even though we lost.
one thing we won't be talking about on this episode
Ooh.
is the new Bachelorette season. And by not talking about, I don't mean we're not going to talk about it. I mean, we're not going to talk about it watching it on the TV because it did not air
Yet.
I
was going to fill everybody in on what we've also been up to, but you want to go, right into this?
You wanted to go right into it, and we're going right into it. We'll talk about our run here in a minute.
Okay. You can roll the tape where I said that Taylor Frankie Paul was going to change the Bachelor franchise, and I guess I was still correct in a way. I don't think that some people are like, is this it? Is the Bachelorette and the Bachelor franchise ruined forever? No, I don't think so. I think they'll find a way to come back from this. But for those of you new here, hello. We watch The Bachelor. Daniel does it begrudgingly, but you're part of this team. You're going to show up, and then Secret Lives of Mormon Wives dropped season 4 while we were on our podcast hiatus, and a lot went down in that. And I was like, ooh, is Taylor going to be ready to be the Bachelorette because she hooked up with Dakota, who I cannot stand. I better never catch him on my TV ever again. She hooked up with him like the night before she left. That's not why it was canceled. Some stuff came out that happened in 2023, which, by the way, ABC knew about it. They knew their charges were there. If you read the court documents, which everybody on Reddit did, clearly.
They were just hoping the general populace of the United States didn't find out about it.
I think that I can kind of agree with this a little bit, that I read about it. So I already knew that, there's a child involved, that, kind of accidentally got caught in the crosshairs. Taylor herself had been on podcasts talking about it. But I do think when you see it visually, it is different for people. Some people, it's not the same. It's the opposite of Santa Claus thing. What are the seeing isn't believing, believing is seeing, but that's not really how things are. People like to see things. You know what I'm talking about, right? From Santa Claus.
I get it, yeah.
Well, all the elves with
Why we're talking about the Santa Claus?
Because it's a quote. What do they say? They're like, seeing isn't believing, believing is seeing, but that's really not true.
It doesn't make any sense either. I mean, it's the Santa Claus from the 90s. None of it makes any sense, but I digress.
Great movie, though. The original, at least. Admit the original is a great movie.
The original is an okay, good Christmas movie, and the rest of them are hot garbage.
I still like the second one.
This is a Christmas podcast, by the way. We've been trying to come with different ways that we can improve our podcast slop and feed you guys the things you want to see. And all the statistics point to we need to become a Christmas all year round podcast. Which, by the way, I did have a Christmas idea. What were we going to watch in July?
Oh, we had a viewer suggest to us that we watch the Disney Channel original movie, The Ultimate Christmas Present. It has the wife of Macaulay Culkin, who played Kevin in Home Alone, in this movie.
Do you really have to say Macaulay Culkin, who played Kevin in Home Alone?
You know what? Sometimes I think I do.
Macaulay Culkin, who played the random guy in Fallout Season 2.
I think kids know who Kevin is, but I don't think kids know who Macaulay Culkin is.
The kids aren't listening.
Anyway, that was suggested.
Anybody listening to this podcast that was not born in this, that was born in this century, let us know.
That was suggested that we get your reaction. The people, the one fan, if you will, wants to hear it. So
I agreed. I will watch it, but I will only do it in July, and it will be in a July episode.
We're going to do a Christmas in July series now.
Because it's a Christmas.
Lightning ball moment.
Podcast.
We're gonna watch. I'm gonna make you do a Divas Christmas Carol then too. Then we're gonna line it up, line it up. I bet there's another crazy Christmas movie that we have not.
I'm not watching Fred Claus again. It was terrible.
You know, a lot of our listeners always submit that as one of their favorite ones.
Okay, well, it was a bad movie, and you're bad people for liking it.
Four Christmas is better if you're gonna do a Vince Vaughn movie.
Vince Vaughn's in Fred Claus.
He's the main character.
He's the titular Fred. Oh, of course.
Dummy.
How could I have forgotten? We were talking about The Bachelorette.
The Bachelorette.
And
Taylor Frankie Paul,
and how she's gotten kicked.
So,
I mean, they already recorded the season. So
yeah, the season is done. It is in the can. It was supposed to air last Sunday. It was going to drop, and now it is no more. ABC has pulled it. I think the people that are praising ABC for that decision are not smart people because they're acting like ABC did such a good job and was so, morally sound to pull that season. If they were morally sound, they wouldn't have cast her to begin with. Again, now there are some other stuff from my understanding that came out this past February, but this is from what I've heard is response to that video from 2023. They knew about these charges when they cast her. They cast her because they knew she was going to bring on the drama and would probably give us a pretty, crazy season. And I think they wanted to refresh the franchise. I was all for it. Again, I do not condone domestic violence whatsoever. I want that to be known. I did watch the video. Did you watch the video?
I saw pieces of it, not the whole thing. I'm not into that.
It was hard to watch. I do not okay, what Taylor did was wrong, but I'm not going to put all the blame on her. I have watched Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I think her baby daddy Dakota also has some major issues. I think ultimately these are two people that together it's way too toxic. I think they need to, which I don't know how you do no contact when you share a child together because they have a child together. That's not the child. They had that baby after this incident took place, mind you.
Yeah.
Well, they got back together. It was kind of like the storyline of season 1, somewhat.
Again, I agree with you.
Of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Obviously we don't condone what was shown in the video, but this video has existed since that moment, and the only time it's come out publicly is 3 days before her show is supposed to start. Oh, come on. Somebody did that on purpose.
I think that
foil this situation up.
I don't know. I don't think he's listening to our podcast, so I don't want to be accused of slander or defaming character, but I think we might have a real life Stephen DeMarco on our hands that could have sold it to TMZ.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
If you just say allegedly, then you're free.
I don't know. I'm just going to say, even if he didn't do that, I still, I'm kind of irritated with TMZ that they would do that publicly and release that video because there's a minor in it. There's a child in it. And that little girl, not only did she have the swinging scandal over her head, now she gets to relive this again. And I feel like you're not protecting the people that you claim to be protecting. You're just wanting to smear people and make things even worse. And if you truly had good intentions, if there were good intentions at the start, the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Taylor would have never continued on season 1. ABC never would have cast her as the Bachelor. So that's a whole other conversation.
Right. So I've got 2 questions for you.
Yes.
First, do we ever see the light? Does this season ever see the light of day?
You know what? I think so. They are going to lose so much money from this. I think that maybe it's just wishful thinking because you know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to admit it. I still want to watch the season. There's other people, other storylines that come out of it. The cast, there's Lana Del Rey's ex. I don't think the alligator guy, because I think that's the guy she married.
That's the guy she's married to now.
But her ex is on there. One of the guys that hit remember in a car accident, a Republican congressman, they got in a car accident together. It was a major news story. I don't remember reading this, but apparently there's somebody there on there. So I think the group of I think it was going to be a pretty spicy season. So
okay,
and that's regardless of.
So you think maybe they shadow drop it or something? And just be whatever. They wipe our hands of it.
We all talk about and make fun of oh, here's the smallest violin that, these guys that probably a lot of them did quit their jobs to go on the show with the hope to become influencers that now they're never going to see the light of day. And so for the most part, I'm yeah, whatever. But at the same time, I can see how that would be frustrating if you did put your life on hold. And I guess there's different lawsuits possibly going around, rumors. It has been I have been doing boots on the ground journalism, trying to keep Daniel updated with this every 5 seconds it's a new story.
I so appreciate it. Okay, my second question.
Okay, wait, can I continue for this one? So it's not only the cast, but there is a crew involved and there's a lot of these people have normal jobs, make normal salaries, they edit this, they put all this work in, and from my understanding, the season is filmed, the first people podcasters have already watched the premiere because that gets sent out a week early, but not everything gets edited. I think they edit some episodes from what I learned as it goes on. So all those people are out of work. I think that, so there's normal people that are not going to get a paycheck, that are going to lose money. I think that they're going to drop it on Hulu because I think if these people truly cared about the issue, I think ultimately it was because sponsors started to pull out for network. Sure. And I think if people really cared, let's see, they remove Colton's season because he doesn't have domestic violence charges against him, but he does have stalking charges. They would remove all of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, considering that this incident was a literal storyline in season 1. They would remove all that off their platforms.
Okay, so
they have not done that yet.
That brings me to my second question. Does Momtok survive this?
I don't know if Momtok's going to survive this. I think there's a lot of us that want to support the other women and would be down to watch it. Supposedly, we know we're getting an LA spinoff of like Momtok, but it's got Jen Affleck is going to be the one that. Yeah, she's like my least favorite of the Momtok girls. So it's been crazy. I know that I think several times on this podcast I mentioned how it was going to be awesome having Taylor. And again, I want to say one more time, you and I both, we do not condone that behavior. And I think that ultimately sometimes, while I'm going to get serious for a minute, I do like to consume reality TV, but at the end of the day, sometimes I wonder, am I part of the problem? Because I was felt a little icky watching season 4, because I was seeing a person that did not come off the same way they did in season 3 and was a little bit concerned, and that we're watching this woman spiral. So at the end of the day, I truly hope that both she and Dakota and all parties involved and their children actually do get the help they need. I don't know if they will. I don't know how this stuff goes down, but it's at the end of the day, while I'm sad to be without my show, it is a very sad situation.
I would most personally like to see maybe a little bit of some destruction of a double standard, because I feel like the Bachelorette is being held to a standard athletes,
football players,
bachelors, presidents and senators and House representatives
leaders,
aren't being held
other
to.
men,
And so I
singers,
just feel like
actors.
I agree fundamentally, but you're right. At the end of the day, if this was actually a problem, ABC had all of the information at hand to just not cast her in the first place.
And they did it. They rolled the dice. They took a gamble, and then ultimately it kind of bit them in the butt. But if they actually, I feel like if they actually cared about it, they wouldn't have cast her. They would have gone their traditional route. And I'm sad for Taylor. I hope she does get the help she needs, because at my core, from what I've seen on the show, is I think you can be a good person at your core and struggle with stuff. And I think sometimes we see things in this world so black and white, like good versus evil. And sometimes there's a lot of other issues at stake. So I think ultimately all we can do is, hope that she gets the help she needs and can have some support in this time. And I also, hope that her children are okay as well. And when it comes to Momtok, though, I think should we just go into this? We're going to roll into the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Sure.
That we wrapped through. You watched some of that. I already could see. I think Whitney has blown up. She's on Broadway. She's in Chicago. I think that she was already kind of like, I know she and Connor have been to New York. She's filmed a movie. So I think she was kind of already separating away. And while, Taylor was supposed to be the Bachelorette, that also, the Bachelorette is, while we had the 2 girls on Dancing with the Stars last year,
right,
the Bachelorette opens up even more doors for you. And I could have seen her pulling back a bit as well anyway. I think at this point, if the actual show Secret Lives of Mormon Wives goes forward, I do not think that Taylor Frankie Paul will be a part of it. But I think, I'd be fine to watch McKaylee. Yeah. I just combined their names. They're like a ship. Macy, Michaela, Layla, and my girl Miranda. She's pretty. I like Miranda. I never want to see Dad talk again, though. You tuned in to some of those episodes, and I love that I'm not married to an idiot. For all your flaws and all your Star Trek obsessions and your annoyances, at your core, you're a good dude. And
listen,
you
what's
clocked
that guy's name?
Jordan.
I can't stand to look at him on screen. His beard looks like it's like
okay. Let's bring up the
glued
Santa Claus
on.
2 again.
His beard looks like it's glued onto his face. His hair looks weird.
Who does he look like, Daniel? Santa Claus 2. This is a Christmas podcast.
Oh, is it the?
He
fake
looks like
Santa
the
Claus?
toy Santa
The toy
Claus.
Santa Claus. Yeah, he's just like there's, and then not to mention,
he's mean.
Every one of these guys opens their mouth, and it's like,
what?
Yeah.
I don't want dad talk to survive this. They really pushed that too. And it was like, we don't care. And I'm like, why would a man be here? Like that, be like, please go away. And all that, right? Well, because we've talked about this all the day, like the Bachelorette was canceled and all that went down. That's where Jordan like filed for divorce from Jesse. Like he chose to like make it about himself in that moment. And we're all like, really? Read the room, dude. And for him, I love that you clocked him early because I think you were in a scene where he was like screaming at Jessie, right? And like really demeaning her. And I'm like, if you talk to your partner like that on camera, what do you do off camera?
I couldn't. I honestly like don't even remember the scene at all because all I could do when I saw the guy is stare at how ridiculous of a human.
And you were like, get this guy off my TV.
I'm not being vapid or shallow. I am being vapid and shallow, but he looks. What is going on with if my beard looked like that, I wouldn't have a beard. If it just grew in naturally like that, I wouldn't have a beard.
So we want dad talk to not survive this. The only dude we like is Connor. It's Whitney's husband who showed up on Dancing with the Stars. I'll say this though, because Lord knows I ranted enough about it in the fall. Man, it feels good to be right. Everyone's coming around. I clocked the whole jealousy thing from Jen during that season. People were so mean to Whitney. Turns out I was right.
Whitney,
Boom. She continues to thrive.
If the Mormon Wives show continues, I expect Whitney will only be on that show as contractually obligated. And if she isn't contractually obligated, why would you touch that thing with a... She's got a career now starting up, and she needs to just get away from it.
I'm glad that she mended some of her friendships, but even like looking back, like because I'm pretty sure, again, I'm on record, I was a Whitney hater in season 1, so I wasn't with some of you guys that liked her from all the way through. I started liking her a little bit more in season 2, but looking back, some of the stuff she was upset about in season 1, about like, certain incidences and stuff, and like brand deals, and I'm like, she was kind of right all along. Another thing I want, if Secret Lives does return, is the Marciano talk. Because even you remember them talking about that in season 3. You're like, they're bringing up that Vanderpump Villa thing again. You're like, what is that?
That's not the skit from SNL.
What is the skit from SNL?
Where Sabrina Carpenter sings the song, or they sing the Sabrina Carpenter song badly? And Marciano, is that not the guy's name that does it like
Domingo.
Hey now,
it's Domingo.
Okay.
From Domingo.
I really screwed that one up.
All right. We have watched a lot of other shows, but one of the reasons why we did take some time off, well, other than life being exhausting, is we did go to, shocker of shocker, where did we go?
Walt Disney World.
Orlando,
Florida, Kissimmee.
It's actually like Buena Vista, like Bay Lake, I think. To run, we ran the Disney Princess Half Marathon races. We did the Merida 5K, the Moana 10K. What do you think of the races? It's nice and hot. The weather was so much better than last year when it was freezing.
The weather was nicer. I wish that at the start of the 5K, my first experience in Corral A, by the way, finally, after all these years, I scraped and clawed my way up to Corral A, only for the starting gun to go off and just to stand there for like 10 seconds waiting for people to move forward.
It was weird. Even last year when Mom and I were in B, people we were in B. No, we were in C for the 10K, and people didn't do that.
I was in D.
I know the 5Ks are not timed, but go off to the side if you're going to walk. That was weird. I thought you were going to say nice things about the 5K, about how we had a great time running together.
Once we got out of that, it was fun. I enjoyed running with you. And
I was just like Merida, like everybody else.
The course was great. That 5K course, I really like it. But
we ran some with Megan, one of my friends I met through Run Disney, and both you and Megan at one of the character stops were like, "Who was this?" And I'm like, and I had to look it up or talk to somebody that was looking up. It was Merida's mom. That's a rare character. And you're like, "Well, I don't remember her mom." And I was like, "Oh, that's because she's like a bear half the movie." And you're like, "She turns into a bear." And I'm like, "Do you not remember the plot of Brave?"
No.
The 5K was fun. The night before, we should talk about the night before the 5K just because I have a lot to say about it. We booked dinner at a new favorite for you.
That's right.
We've been there for breakfast at Disney's Riviera Resort, Topolino's. We've been there for breakfast many times. I've only been there for dinner once without you when I went on a girls trip, and we just randomly snagged a reservation. I felt very underdressed, but it wasn't a contemporary situation where you had to buy a new shirt like vacation. But I did feel like everyone was dressed really bougie, and we were like coming from like the expo where you have to pick your race stuff up, like sweaty and like disheveled. And I let's see. I ordered off the kids menu.
Oh, that's right.
And they even cut my chicken for me. It was amazing.
Sorry, because the meal was such a blur for me because I went from an old fashioned to
espresso
I went from an old fashioned to a glass of wine.
Yeah.
To espresso. Discovered espresso for the first time, which, by the way, for an ADHD king. This was quite a discovery, and also, like,
I think you freaked her out when you were. She was like, "Do you want like milk or flavor in it?" You're like, "No, I want it straight."
I want it straight, and that was the correct decision. That's my race prep, by the way.
Yeah.
So
I had the kids grilled chicken, and then she was like telling me like all the adult sides I could pair with it, and I was like, and I remember the last time I ate there, and I'm like, can I get the kids shells and cheese? Listen, it's white cheddar shells and cheese, and it is, what is it? That's what I'm talking about. But then when she comes over to give us the dessert menu, she's like, and you can get a scoop of gelato. I'm like, no, I'll have a dessert, a big girl dessert. Thank you. But you said you made a bold claim, which I feel like maybe for a future podcast, I need to have you blindly rank steaks at Disney World again. What did you say about the steak you had there?
Oh, it was the best one I've ever had on property. Yeah.
But you still said Le Cellier, because we also ate there that trip, would be your best overall meal experience.
I'm not a snooty place person. This was slightly snooty, not too snooty, but slightly.
I feel like the vibe at dinner is so different than breakfast.
The vibe was different. Certainly not having the characters running around,
people twirling their napkins,
screaming because Mickey's coming. While I'm just I'm just trying to cut my meat. Helped, but I do think I don't know. What else did we even get an appetizer there?
No, they just brought out that bread.
Oh, that's right. And the bread was good.
With olive oil.
So I don't know. I think there's a distinction for me between like just the best steak.
Yeah.
As in this piece of meat on my plate, the best plate of food, as in everything that comes along with it. And I think that's the point I was making, was that the steak at Topolino's dinner, the filet, was probably the best filet I've had.
And the shells and cheese,
but
no notes.
But the
10
meal,
of 10.
the meal, as in the filet and all the stuff that comes with it, like that mushroom risotto and everything at Le Cellier, is probably overall better than the overall meal that I got at.
I get to come off wild at that one too, and I'm like, can I just have the soup for my meal? Thank you. Do you remember that time? This was a different trip where I accidentally ordered like a plate of carrots. And it was like,
it wasn't like a small plate of carrots.
I thought they were going to give me like a bowl like they do at Bob Evans or something. And it was like, and
weren't
the
they
stems were still, it reminded me
they had
of
like stems and still on them. And
like
some
Bugs
of them,
Bunny.
They weren't all orange. It was like rustic, like artisanal, I think is the word, carrot plate. An artisanal carrot plate.
I guess. I don't think that's what it was called, but rustic. I don't know what it was called. We ran the 10K. The 10K almost didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what you don't do to runners? You don't have them. They're like, they kept saying they're going to make an announcement, and they're like, we will make an announcement at 8 if this race is happening. They didn't do that till like 8:17. So like, I'm on all these groups, and you're on the Discord, and everyone's like, where is our announcement? But thankfully, they made the right choice. They were able to have the race. I showed up with a binder clipping my poncho. I've never run in a poncho, but that's what I did, So I didn't want to get wet before the race.
You were not the only person I saw with a binder clip keeping your poncho.
I saw somebody do it on one of the Run Disney groups, and I'm like, that is actually genius. I loved that 10K course, though. It was so much fun. Moana themed.
It's a good 10K course as well.
Lots of fun music. And then we ate at Le Cellier, and then we flew. I think we did a little Magic Kingdom that day.
Mm-hmm.
The cinnamon roll. I have a Gaston's You Met Your Match.
Oh, yeah, the bacon one?
It's like caramel, bacon, pecan. And it's so good and so warm, and we had to like power walk
I don't
because
know how,
they
yeah.
stopped serving it at 11, and we made it there like
I don't
10:57.
know how we've missed out on this place so much because like Gaston's is great and all,
It is,
but at this place you can get a cinnamon roll and I can
Oh.
get a bacon on a stick.
and it's like thick bacon.
So like this is like the perfect place.
And then we flew home, so it was a very short trip. And then one of the reasons why we were delayed on podcasting is for once, I was mercifully spared from being struck down with illness. And just as I got cocky and arrogant, and I was like, wow, I think we made it unscathed. Because let's say there was plenty of people coughing, sneezing, hacking in those corrals. When they put you in those corrals for races, if you've never done a race before, just think of being like, people, there's no way that somebody's not touching your arm. You're a bumper to bumper with people. Yes, you're outside.
It's a corral in the sense that you would think of it with cows. They just cram them all
literally.
in there.
So I was like, wow, we made it. We did it. We did it. We did it. And then Daniel, I think the last time you were sick was after our marathon in 2024.
I think so.
He's like, I don't feel good. And I'm like, no.
I didn't say it like that.
No. And I am not the most nurturing person when somebody's sick because I don't want to get sick. I tried to be nice. We had some words, but it's okay now. And he's healed.
I believe at one point it was suggested I need to have a cot in the basement that I can sleep on.
I never said that. I didn't say that. You said that. I said they need to test your blood because you were like, it was really like literally like 2 days of feeling yucky and then you were good.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. That's another reason, because he's the editor. He does, and when he doesn't want to do it, I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why we've been away. And then the other stuff is just March Madness life. I've been, like I said, boots on the ground journalism, filling Daniel in at every opportunity with all the Bachelorette drama, the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It's been a lot. But during that time, believe it or not, we have watched TV. The name of this podcast. We're probably like 45 minutes in. What are we at right now?
We're at 31 minutes.
Okay, so we're not quite 45 minutes in.
Podcast Slop.
But close. Close.
And I'm just going to randomly pick off your list here because it's podcast Slop night.
I was going to go with
no reason. Oh, do you have something you specifically want to go to? We're just going to free flow.
I was going to not go to the the I had.
That's what we're one mind right here. Hit me.
I was going to say the Pitt. I fell in the Pitt. What about you?
I don't know. I was just going to close my eyes. Yeah, the Pitt, season 2, going strong. I think we got, 3-4 episodes left at this point?
I believe so. We are coming down to the wire, and I think for me, I can definitely go ahead, unless it flops. I think I have we've talked about it, we've waffled on it, but my current best thing going, Hacks, by the way, which comes back next month, like early April. They just dropped that trailer out of nowhere yesterday. That's the final season. What are the rules of best thing going, Daniel?
Has to be a show that is currently on, has at least one season, and has another, and is guaranteed at least another season.
Yeah,
so it can't be a show that we know is ending.
So my show that I had chosen it's finito. It's done. I think I'm going to go ahead and crown it for me. Unless it flops and I look stupid, but I've already looked dumb with saying that was going to be the best season of The Bachelorette ever. I'm going with best thing going.
We're back into alliance. One, we were split for a while. You were Hacks, I was Severance. Mm-hmm. One, the Pitt is excellent, and two, who knows if we ever see any more Severance.
We know we're getting more seasons,
we do, but
we
like
just don't know.
This nebulous thing. But more to the point, I just think the Pitt is like this.
It's that girl.
It's
so good.
Every episode I'm blown away by the ability to do characterization of all their characters, but the way they do it, like other shows, what other shows do in a 5-minute conversation, the Pitt does in one line.
Yeah.
But it works, and
it does.
And it's just perfect. And I I'm not going to go into we haven't talked about a lot of episodes here. I honestly think talking about episode to episode is kind of a bore.
It's almost a blur because
like
the Pitt's one day.
It's like if you're not watching the Pitt right now, you should be watching the Pitt. It is
one of the best written shows I have seen in years. And like Daniel said, to kind of like piggyback off that, is I am somebody and I think I said this in a previous episode, that character development is really important to me. And when I first read the concept of the Pit, I was like, how is this going to, like each season is a day. I'm like, how are they going to pull this off? How am I going to get to know these characters? They pull it off beautifully. You can even still ship people. And some of the ships are canonically true. Like every breadcrumb, every scrape, even though things are not going well for my girl Santos. Someone play a chaperone casual, please. Santos and Garcia. Like the 3 seconds of screen time that I'll get between them, I'm like, that was crazy. That was exhilarating. That was the best moment of my life. Like, even then it was like with the last episode, they kind of had a little bit of a tiff because she has her thing, her beef with Langdon. Santos does. But they've managed to, and then of course I'm a big shipper. There's other characters that I ship. I ship Dr. Mohan and Dr. Abbott. I do like my malpractice Kane with, Dr. Mel Kane. That's Landon and Mel. But yeah, it's just, they've found, I don't even know how they've done it. They found a way to just beautifully pull off such good writing and so many, and I have seen one of the complaints that I have seen from people at the Pit. They're like, oh, it's so political. Do you guys, we try to not get political in here, but do you guys think healthcare is not political? Then what have you been paying attention to the last 30 some plus years? And I think they're really showing, they're showing the work that doctors, nurses, even the receptionist staff, they're showing the work that everybody does in hospitals, but all they have to deal with as well. Not only advocating for your patients, resources, funding, and I think
dealing with people who think they know better than a doctor who spent 12 years in school.
Yeah, they're dealing with a lot of stuff that probably abuse against a lot of nurses. I remember during the pandemic reading that people were being very abusive to medical staff. We have seen that on the show. So yeah, each episode, never miss. Now, I actually had a conversation. I know you have a question for me that he DM'd you. I had a conversation with podcast listener John Paul, aka Nice Foul, on Twitter or X, whatever they're calling it these days.
We don't call it X.
And he actually had me do a blind ranking with him in conversation, and he gave me the characters of Dr. Robbie Whitaker, Dr. Al Hashimi, or as we call Dr. AI, Mel, and Nurse Dana. And I gave Robbie the 4 slot because Dr. Robbie is kind of ticking me off. If he yells at my girl, Dr. Mohan, one more time, we're going to have words. And then I gave Whitaker the 3 spot. Now, if it had been Evil Whitaker, I would have punched him off my list, even though suddenly I'm starting to like Evil Whitaker, though. I'm starting to understand him.
Okay, the last week's episode, you went in so cocky. You were like, I will
never like him.
I can't stand him. What's his name?
Ogilvy.
I can't stand him. I just don't see how they're possibly ever going to make me sympathetic to him. And by the end of the episode, you were like, okay, I'm a little sympathetic to him.
Yeah.
So literally they just heard you and they're like, bet.
Okay, bet, because the writing is that good. So I gave Whitaker the 3 slot. I gave Dr. Al Shimi the 2 slot, and then Mel the 1 slot, and then Dana got my 5 slot. So he gave me likable characters for everybody. And I would say, obviously Mel would definitely be probably my favorite. We protect Mel Kane at all costs.
Yes,
I'm worried about her with this deposition. Oh, we figured out this was the mumps, the measles family.
But here's the thing: that deposition,
come for her.
We're not going to know anything about that till next season.
Oh my gosh!
Because this season's going to end. That
I know.
and the whatever happens is going to happen in the off time.
And since Jesse got carted off last week, and we're not going to see Nurse Jessie, where's my eye candy? Do you think Doctor what's his name? The one nurse that hasn't shown up yet from season 1, and I'm always like, where the heck is he? Mateo.
Yeah,
Do we think they'll bring him in?
He has the day off.
But now that Jesse's gone, they need more help.
AKA, he's on another show.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Baby Jane Doe, is he really on another show?
Yeah, I don't know what he's on, but I just heard one of the actors say that because they were asked if he's going to show up.
Anyway, like I told John Paul, I'm fine having Dana be in my 5 slot, even though she is the queen, she is the moment, because I desperately need the actress to say jag off properly.
Yeah, she's
giving
missed
Philly.
On that. She's been given the opportunity to say it twice, and she's missed both times.
But the character is awesome. Yeah. No notes. So what he asked? What did he ask you for me to do?
John Paul has asked not a rankum or it's a rankum,
not a blind ranking. Okay.
His question is, he wants you to share your top 5 Pitt characters based on looks.
Looks
guys
alone?
and girls together. It's just based on looks. It doesn't
We're
say
taking
looks alone.
personality out of it. Just looks.
It just says looks. It doesn't.
Okay, I'm gonna assume just looks.
Guys and girls together, not separated.
Okay.
So just 5 cast members from the show.
Okay, got it.
And then he adds a little bit of commentary here to suggest if you don't have Dr. Mohan at number 1, you are wrong.
I mean, I agree with him.
Okay.
Honestly,
so that's your number 1, Dr.
yes.
Mohan. Okay.
The face card on this cast in general, do you not agree? Like, the face cards do not decline. They are all incredible, attractive people. I feel like I saw a TikTok. Somebody was like, they were actually in the ER in Pittsburgh. They're like, where are all the hot people? I was told there was going to be hot people here. Do you agree with me? That everyone's attractive on this show. Everyone.
Yes.
Everyone.
Even Ogilvy?
Okay, maybe not him. But most of them. They're most
all right,
of them.
all right. So we got number 1.
Dr. Mohan, I would agree with that. I'm going to go with the other part of the ship that I have with her. My man's Dr. Abbott. Do you think we're going to see Dr. Abbott again?
They said he was napping for his shift. He'll be back in the
I
last
hope he's
couple
back.
episodes. Yeah.
And I want to see Unbothered Iced Coffee, even though he wouldn't make this list again. I think we saw him at the beginning of season 2.
Beginning of the season.
Okay, so I'm going with Nurse Jessie, number 3. He can get it. And then I know we're not supposed to incorporate personality in this, but I got to put my girl Garcia in there. Her personality, and I know people are going to be like, but isn't she mean? I don't care. She's very, she commands the room, and she is hot. So I'm going to go with Garcia at 4. Am I just doing 5 of them?
Yeah.
And then in my 5 slot, this is tough. They're all so good looking. I'm going to have to go with Dr. Langdon.
Okay.
Do you? And you're not going to. You're
I'm not
going
going
to.
to.
I think you agree though. Dr. Mohan, she's like the hottest. Like men, women. Like she's that girl. She reminds me of like a princess.
Speaking of Langdon, he picked last episode when he picked up that kid. I think I pointed this out to you. I saw somebody on the internet talk about it. When he picked up that kid that came through
he hurt his back?
And ran him in, he hurt his back.
Ugh.
And I think that's not a storyline for this season.
Do you think he'll be tempted to use on
not
next season?
Not a storyline for this season, but in the off time in between.
Will he be in next season? Because it looks like Dr. Al-Hashimi overheard. I wasn't aware that. I thought that when he got put on leave, that everybody knew he stole.
That was one of my main questions at the end of season 1. Was like, how
it looks to me
how
like
is he
Dr.
back?
Robbie didn't mention the
He didn't
stealing
report the stealing
part.
Yeah, they just did the addiction part.
Is that gonna come up?
Don't know.
Who does baby Jane Doe? Who does she belong to? There's so many questions. Run to the main storylines right now. This is gonna be a great segue into, feel me out here, Daniel, into our next. I think it's weird that 2 vastly different shows, but both medical, had a similar storyline. The Pitt right now is under like a cyber attack, so they have to go back to their old charting system. Well, guess what? Old show is back and also had a storyline on that. What show is back? Back.
It would be Scrubs.
'Cause I'm no Superman. Scrubs is back. It feels like Scrubs.
It's very odd. I agree that the way both shows have had similar issues come up with them, because they also had a little episode where JD was doing stuff with AI.
Yeah, they've had like 2 different kind of storylines that are very
I think it's
similar.
just a telling of the times. Like, think about it. Like AI is huge in the news right now with what's going on, and also like what would be the most crippling thing that could happen to us?
Yeah,
the internet go away.
And I really think that like this must be, the writers, credit to them. This is why we need actual people writers, not AI. They probably do their research into what even though Scrubs is a comedy, they probably do the research on what do folks in the medical community like deal with. What are some of these issues? Because it is funny how some of them have been so overlapping. But what do you think about Scrubs being back?
It feels like Scrubs again. I think that right now it's the struggling, like the old character JD, Turk, they all feel the same. They're all working.
Elliot feels the same.
I think this last episode we saw maybe finally got us caring a little bit about the new characters a little bit more than we had.
Some shipping going on.
Because right now they really just, it was kind of a situation of like, I just want to see what my old friends are doing, and I don't really care about these new people.
Eagerly.
But they threw a little bit of a curve.
Is that what they
there.
say? Eagerly? No, that's from the other. What was their Turk and JD thing?
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't even remember.
So they threw a little bit of a curve in there with those 2 doctors who we thought liked each other, but then turns out maybe she likes the other one. So that I think is going to help. But at the end of the day, I'm enjoying it, but it's mostly a nostalgia fueled thing.
Yeah.
And they need to do a little bit more in the second half of the season to, in my mind, turn this into something that's sustainable.
They need to Brendan Fraser us in an episode. When I think of Scrubs and one of the most gut-punching episodes of all time, I think of the Brendan Fraser episode. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know but the thing is, I just don't know that they've earned. I don't know that they could pull it off because I don't know that.
Was it that season 1 or was it season 2?
I don't remember when that was, but I don't think they haven't pulled us in yet to be able to crush us like that.
I think right
that's
now
what I'm waiting for. We're still waiting to be pulled into all these characters that we don't know, and that's the hard part.
I think that you are correct that it's very much is riding on nostalgia, but I don't mind it. Like seeing like the Todd randomly when he showed up a little bit, that was funny. Dr. Cox, I think, was only in that first episode, right?
Yeah.
So I suspect we will see him again because JD's kind of taken over. And I like it that JD's not trying to be Dr. Cox. He's still very much JD. JD and Elliot, for those of you, spoiler alert, they are not together. I'm not surprised that they're not together because they were kind of tumultuous in the first show. I can't believe that I am saying this as somebody, as a shipper of couples. I think I will be annoyed if they go back into that will they, won't they thing again because I've already seen that. And I'd rather see them coexisting as coworkers and getting back to a place that they started as friends that respect each other. Obviously, they do share a child together. We know that at least they share one child together.
We haven't seen that child to show up on screen, but
I don't want a rehash of the will they won't like. And I think it would actually be solid writing if they didn't go there. I'm not, but it is at the end of the day, it is TV, and a lot of people. I don't want it to feel like a repeat.
No,
Does that make
I'm
sense?
100% on board with you there. That is like, I don't want them to go down that that lane. I want them to move forward. I want the storyline between those two to be, how do we get along with each other post-marriage in our divorced lives and get along as colleagues and friends.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see them together in a relationship again. That's just not the direction I want to see this thing go.
And really, honestly, the only thing extra I want from Scrubs is I need the janitor to show up. I need to see Neil Flynn on my screen. And I want him to maybe he could show up as like a patient. Is it
confirmed he is in it?
I don't think it is confirmed 100%, but everybody's pretty much assuming.
I just feel like it would be a really...
I think people are assuming.
He's out there, he's acting.
Yeah, he's
acting
shrinking.
in Bill Lawrence produced television. So it's like, why would he not show up?
All right, well, since we just mentioned it, we'll just briefly talk about shrinking. I think this season is close to the end as well. Talk about a gut punch right now. With what's going on with our characters there. It's still, this show, again, it's very much like Scrubs in tone, as it does a good job of being funny, but then and I think Gabby's going to go through it at the end of the season. And you think about, and I feel like they sprinkle that in early, because we've already seen Jemmy, like, coming to terms with, like, what was Roy Kent's character, like, Leo? Like, Gabby had a very contentious moment with Leo at the beginning of the season this time.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of like the way she popped off, like maybe like everybody deals with grief differently. And now she's had kind of a situation pop up where, one, I don't think she was feeling very fulfilled in her career, and then losing, I can't imagine being in that field, what it would be like to lose a patient because you would feel like you failed them. Do you think that she's kind of be like the emotional like journey? Like we all think it's always going to be like Paul or Jimmy, but I really think a lot of the focus is going to be on Gabby at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's one of the big characters so far in the show of the 3 seasons we've had that hasn't had she's had growth, but the least big growth. Whereas Jimmy obviously has been dealing with the death of his wife and his actions after that when it comes to his daughter, and obviously Paul is dealing with his Parkinson's diagnosis, and so Gabby has kind of been on the sidelines watching both of those things happen. So now, here where she was feeling unfulfilled with like the rich people, the toils of the rich people that she was dealing with, right? In her practice, and seeing people out there who need, and it's not to diminish their
everybody needs help.
But there's people out there that need a lot more help than this
and
married
might not
couple
be able to afford it.
And who are just squabbling, and these people can't afford it. So she's wanting to try and do something with that, and she's feeling like she is, but then she has that, like you said, the person who the patient who passes away. Sorry, I was fighting off a sneeze.
Oh no!
And so that I think is just going to cause she's going to go through it, but towards the end of this season.
Well, I guess we'll find out. We had some other news today. Bridgerton. We do have the leads for season 5 confirmed. It is going to be Francesca and Michaela. So they are once again going out of book order, because if they were going in book order, Eloise would be the next one. But I think, well, I felt like you watched season 4 with me, and I felt like they could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Which one they were going to pick. And I think Eloise is the only book that I'm really cool with and making a lot of changes to, because her love story is, yeah. But one of the plots that I did like of her love story was writing the letters to Philip. You know, her book is called To Sir Philip with Love. And I think like what Bridgerton has been doing with threading these through storylines, I actually think that's going to set up Eloise's quite well, because I was wondering, I'm like, if we do make Eloise the lead, I'm like, are we going to spend the whole first half of the season with the letters? So I think you could make that, like, you kind of get the ball rolling with that a little early.
I also think with Eloise's character, she's been one of the more prominent characters throughout
like
the
fan
entirety
favorite.
of the series. And what usually happens is those people become a little bit less ingrained in the story once they get their season. And so it's probably a way to say, hey, we want to keep this character up front and center a little bit longer.
Yeah. And I think that they did address like some of I do think this season, the people that do Bridgerton, I think they listen to our fan like gripes, because one of my biggest complaints at the end of season 3 was that it wasn't about like the gender swap so much with Michael and Michaela, because I was like, Michael was too good. So when we all know a man can't be that good in real life, present company excluded. So I was like, I'm fine with making it Michaela, but I didn't like, a lot of us were irritated at, it seemed like they diminished her love for John. And they listened to us, and it is absolutely clear. You watched that back half of that season. How horribly sad was the episode when John dies, Francesca's first husband? Listen, it was horrible.
The back half, part 2 of the season in general was a bummer.
Bummer.
Obviously, it had a good, happy ending that we saw there, but even the
for Francesca.
Even the main storyline was a bummer for a lot of this thing, because it really, seems like they maybe, from what you've told me about the book, sewed up the storyline to be a little bit happier
with the class.
With the classism.
It's not that it's unhappy, but in the book, Benedict and Sophie, and I think they'll probably still have them live in the country of the show, but they do kind of have to. They do it is a little bit of an isolation, because we have the whole classism thing, because Sophie is they call it. I don't know, illegitimate. No, not illegitimate. What is it? A bastard, right?
Yeah, she's a bastard.
Yeah. So her dad was noble and her mom was not. So there is that issue, and they kind of made it a little bit
they lied in the show. They lied to the queen about who she was.
Yeah, which the queen again doesn't play as prominent of a role in the actual books, which it's fine, because again, I think you can. It's another situation of, I have those books, I love those books, but you can. I think it'd be really hard to do a show with just the book. That being said, for what they did give us this season, they stuck about for the main love story, which was once again at the center. They stuck about as close to the book as you could hope, and they were still able to have their through storylines. And I think Benedict and Sophie's story really came through on screen, and it was nice to see the main couple get their moment in the sun. We had I love, again, the music in Bridgerton. We had Enchanted the first half. We got Take Me Back to the Night We Met. I'm not a great singer, as you guys know. But I love how they do that. You love that too, right?
Well, I thought, and that song is I saw some people being like, why would they play that song during that romantic dance scene? That's not what was the focus of that dance scene.
No.
So the secondary story that was going on this season was, what's her face is wanting to leave and go do her own thing and not hang out with the queen all the time. What's her name?
Lady Danbury.
Lady Danbury. And so she's leaving, and the queen has finally agreed to let her go.
Yeah. So
that scene, while they're playing that song, and Sophie and Benedict are dancing with each other, great. That song is sad, and it wasn't about them. It was about.
And you didn't even watch Queen Charlotte, so you didn't even have where they are young and they first became friends. You didn't even have that, and you still were able to.
Yeah, that's what they played that song there for. That wasn't about Sophie and Benedict.
So
come on, folks. If I can get this stuff, this is easy stuff. If I'm barely paying attention here, if I can get it, come on.
but I really liked season 4. I think season 4 is probably my favorite that they have done since I will always like season 2 as such a Kanthony shipper. I love Kate and Anthony's storyline, but I think that it might even be better than season 2 because they really stuck. It's probably the closest one to the book, but they still made it work for the show. This is the most you've ever watched of Bridgerton, and I'm going to quote you. You were like, because if you're going to bring up my thing here in a few minutes, Daniel was like, this isn't that bad. I've seen worse, and you know what? I'll take it. You said it was better than fine. You were like pleasantly entertained. You were.
When I say I've seen worse, you made me go to see In a New York Minute in theaters.
Iconic, legendary movie. That is how you tell somebody's age. You say, what do you think about the Olsen twins? Because believe it or not, there are people that are like, who? Oh, that's the other Christmas movie I need to have you react to.
No.
And Christmas to Grandmother's House we go.
No.
With the Olsen twins. I used to make my parents watch it every Christmas. So we've got 3 that we're going to be reacting to. So go ahead and tell me what you thought of Bridgerton season 4, and will you be tuning in for season 5 with me, for better or worse?
I mean, it was fine. What I saw, it was good. It was not. It's a high quality. The production value is high. The show looks good. The costuming, the music is obviously great. I'm a huge mark for taking a piece of pop music and turning it classical. Yeah. That's just, you're going to get me on board almost every time. I mean, I don't have any complaints with it. It is not my genre of show. No. I would not choose to sit down and watch it on my own, but you have forced me as if I was in A Clockwork Orange and held my eyes open with pens to watch much worse media.
And what Daniel was referring to at the beginning of the episode, I'm just going to quickly say it. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, 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 life is but a dream. I made a Star Trek reference unprompted in the middle of Malcolm in the Middle. Do we have to elaborate?
You didn't just make an unprompted Star Trek reference. We were watching Malcolm in the Middle. They were having a camp out, and you said... A campfire, and you said something to the effect of the greatest campfire scene of all time isn't even here. I already know where to go for that. And I stopped and was very interested to know what you thought the greatest campfire scene of all time was. Little did I know she was referring, of course, to the beginning and end of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
Well, this is what happens when you spend a lot of time together. All right, so we're not going to break this up for next week because I don't know, if my brain can remember this stuff. So jumping around on the list, we finally did it, folks. I read the first 2 books, so we were able to free ourselves from the confines of waiting for Hope to finish the book. We watched Percy Jackson season 2 on Disney+. I think it was only 8 episodes, which they need to do more. I liked the second book better than the first book, and I think it's because the first book I had already seen the first season of the show, and for the most part, there are some changes, and there were a little bit more changes in season 2. I'm going to say this show does a pretty good job of following the books. I could have had I wish the show would have been a little better because I really liked that book, and I feel like you didn't enjoy it as much as I did. What did you call it earlier?
Cheap?
No, you said Percy Jackson and the...
Boring plot?
Forgotten season.
Oh, Forgotten season. Okay. Man, I was much more creative an hour ago.
Read the book. Well, we know we're getting season 3. I am currently reading the 3rd Percy Jackson book. I'm on a short hiatus. I can knock out Project Hail Mary so we can go see that soon. Because I didn't even know there was a book about Project Hail Mary.
I'm not making her do that either, by the way, folks.
I was like, that movie, there's this Ryan Gosling movie. That's how I said it. I was like, I want to see that Ryan Gosling movie. Because it looks good, and they've been spamming me with previews for it since I saw Wicked, and he's like, you want to see Project Hail Mary? And I'm like, yeah, that's what it's called, right? He's in space. And you were like, oh my gosh, yes. And then Daniel's like, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but there's a book. And I'm like, well, now we can't, because we thought about seeing it last weekend. And I'm like, well, now I'm going to have to read the book, because I'm one of those people that like to read the book. And you promised that you're not going to have time to read the book, though.
No.
But you will still read it even after we see the movie?
Sure, yeah.
I have heard nothing but great things about this movie. I have not heard a single complaint. It's to the point it's starting to infiltrate my socials, and because I don't want to be spoiled until I finish that book, I'm like, get out of here. But I haven't heard anything bad about it.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good about it, so.
How did I get from Percy
which is not what I can say about Percy Jackson season 2. I feel like the Disney budget skimped big time on this season.
Slashed. It looked better in the first season.
Listen, you're right. You said this to me, and you're correct. The plot is the plot from the book, and it was season 1 was the same way. I just don't remember it. But the way I felt like you kept talking about these magical unicorn rainbow hippopotamuses.
Oh, the hippopotamus! It's like this magical hippopotamus fish, and one is named Rainbow, and we got to see it for like 2 seconds.
So yeah, you didn't even really get to see them. So they slashed budget there.
The Cyclops looked awful.
Cyclops looked awful.
It looked even worse than Doctor Strange's weird eye in that last movie that was featured. That looked terrible. Which that was a huge Marvel budget.
I get this is just plot of the story, but like, I'm sorry, I'm here to see the big gods show up.
Well, you're lucky that you got.
Poseidon, apparently, according to you, didn't even show up in the second book.
He's not even in the book. He just writes a letter in the book.
Yeah, so we get to see that. Like, come on, folks. What are we here for? What are we doing here?
I think that
I don't care about Percy Jackson at Hogwarts.
I think that they would do. Oh, I like the Hogwarts scenes. I think that they would do better by not dropping this in December like they do. I feel like they need to air it at a different time. They dropped it right around, for better or for worse, even though a lot of people think it was a flop. Putting that right around the time of Stranger Things hype was a bad choice because I feel like those 2 shows could possibly have a lot of the same fans. But yeah, it definitely felt like they spent all the money in season 1. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what is up with Sasha showing up? I don't know what the actor's name is, but he showed up in Percy Jackson. He's the guy from Nobody Wants This who plays Sasha. And then he showed up in, which is a great segue. I'm just knocking the segues out of the park. I saw a movie without Daniel because you don't care about these movies. I saw Scream 7. Took my nephew, who's now a big Scream. I have
negative interest in Scream movies.
And that's fine.
I actively don't want to see them.
And no one asked for your opinion on that. You saw the Scream 4 in theaters because it came out on my birthday.
I have no memory. When was that? 20 years ago?
No. It came out on my birthday. I think look it up on your phone right now while I talk. We saw it literally came out on my birthday weekend, and you went and saw that, and I don't think you had seen the other 3, but I was like, it's my birthday, I get to pick. And I kind of debriefed you on Scream, but you've seen the first Scream now, right? Surely I've had you at least watch the first Scream. Thank you.
Yes.
But yeah, so then the same actor shows up as the drama teacher in Scream 7, and I was like, okay.
How old is Scream 4?
I feel like it's 2011. Yeah,
you got it 15 years ago.
Okay. Because when I was talking to my nephew about this, I was like, I didn't realize that he was 1 when that came out. Well, he was blown away when I told him that I was in, what year did the first Scream come out? Because I feel like I was in middle school, maybe even elementary, probably middle.
Oh gosh, 1996.
1996. So I would have been in elementary school. Yeah. And I felt like Gavin was like, wow, these movies are old when I told him that. And I was like, watch it. But he has since gotten into horror and all the Scream movies. And we had made plans. I think we had been planning to see Scream 7 together since even before Wicked. So it's so nice when your nephews age up and they can be your movie buddy. And it's great for you because that means you didn't have to, because I would have dragged you to see Scream 7. I think I missed Scream 6 in theaters and had to watch it on streaming because I feel like that was another time, one of my mini plagues that I've had, so I didn't get to see it. But yeah, I saw a movie without you. It was, and Matthew Lillard was back as Stu, who was in the first Scream. I have always count me in the fan base of the Scream people who never thought that he was dead. I always thought he was alive. And they definitely, again, we haven't really given the spoiler warning, so let's just do it over an hour in.
Let's do it an hour and 2 minutes into the podcast. This is a spoiler podcast.
This is a spoiler podcast. Click around.
Podcast Slop.
It's still up in the air if he's alive or not, because the movie, it was solid until the end with the reveal of who the ghost faces were, and then they had said it was AI that they had used.
I always hate it when it's solid until the very end.
It kind of flopped at the end.
And then it gets a little soupy.
But that being said, we know we're getting a Scream 8, and I think that they have set it up that Stu could be the final boss of that, because I still hold that he is alive, and I think the first FaceTime call that he did was the actual Stu. supposedly the reason why the ending flopped so bad was that the script got leaked, and the actual people who were supposed to be the killers, who would have made sense, they had to do rewrites, because this is why people need to stop leaking crap. It's really annoying, and it's honestly disrespectful to like writers and people that put their, work into these movies, because it was like a nothing burger. Now, it did hurt my soul. When I tell you, now you're like, even though you're a millennial, you give off old people energy sometimes, because you do know who Ethan Embry is?
No.
Can't Hardly Wait. Sweet Home Alabama. Been in tons of movies.
I have no idea who
you
this
break
man
my
is.
heart. Anyway, so you're not giving Gen Z, you're giving old. But of course, Gavin was like, who is Ethan Embry? Because like he showed up at one point working in like the insane asylum, and I was like, oh my gosh, Ethan Embry. And I'm like, oh, you've not seen Can't Hardly Wait. Oh, my age is showing. And then at one point, like, they have this scene, because the movie focuses on Sydney. Nev Campbell's back to play the lead role. I loved it. I felt like they really made this movie for, like, the OGs. There were so many references, but, like, her daughter is a major plot point in it. And there's this, like, scene where they're, like, backstage at their school play, and she and her boyfriend are getting frisky. And I'm like, who would do that at school? I was like, where are their parents? And Gavin's like, people do that all the time at my school, Ann Hope. And I'm like, oh, no! Don't tell me this! And then you realize life comes at you fast. But I would give the Scream rate, like, I enjoyed it. Like, the end, a bit of a flop, but I think it is better than Scream 5 and 6. That might be a bit of a hot take. I think there's a lot of people that are in that camp that I'm in. I think it might even be better than Scream 3. But I'm one of those weird people that Scream 4 is my favorite. So I feel like Scream 4 is very millennial coded. Maybe that's why. If there are any Scream fans in the audience, let me know. Do you think Stu is alive? Oh, and then Gavin was also asking me some questions about, the other Ghostface was. The first two were Stu and Billy Loomis. Gavin's like, so did you like Stu best back in the day? And I'm like, unfortunately, no. Your aunt is toxic, and I always liked Billy. But we know he's dead. Do you know anything about Scream other than like what's going on? Sydney, final girl.
I'm generally aware that there's a person called Ghostface
Is the
killing people.
Yeah.
And they make references to other horror movies, and they're very meta about it, and I don't care.
I love it that it's so meta about it. But yeah, I saw a movie. It was fun. It was fine. It was better than fine. We had a good time. Oh, the best part. I'm leaving out the best part. So when you go see a movie, which Scream
the ending?
Yeah, Daniel. Scream movies are not what I would call scary, but they still keep you on edge. So we walk out of the theater, and the freaking power goes out.
It really was walking out of the theater.
Yeah, it really was the end of the movie. The power goes out, and the theater that we were at is connected to the mall. Not only just in that theater, the entire mall. So that's very unsettling. Like, literally, like, we are walking out. I'm about to turn in and be like, I have to pee. Like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Power goes out. Comes back on. Walk out again. Power goes out. Comes back on. And I told my nephew, I'm like, listen, I'm just going to go use my phone because I've got to go to the bathroom. And then Gavin's like, if we die, nice knowing you. But then it came back on, and turns out there were tornadoes in the area. So that was fun.
Man, I missed a very funny opportunity because you texted me about the power going out, and I wish I had called you. And when you answered, I had gone, what's your favorite scary movie?
Didn't you, I forgot to text you too that, I arrived
yeah, you did.
to, pick up my nephew. And usually, I'll post pictures on social, but because I think we had, taken a couple selfies, and then they started the previews early, and we were just, super locked in. And it was a pretty good crowd, for a movie that had been out for a week. And I just forgot to text you entirely. I didn't text you once. I get a text as the credits are rolling, and Daniel's like, hey, are you alive?
Yeah, well, because usually, if you haven't texted me, I'll just get on Facebook and, she checked in.
But I didn't have anything. Nothing on my story.
And so I had no information to let me know whether you made it and were watching the movie or you were wrecked in a ditch on I-77.
But it was okay. So the last little thing I think on these show notes that we have to talk about is Daniel suggested that we watch a reality show.
That.
Daniel's like, hey, I got an email from Netflix. And I'm like, what? He's like, did you know that Love is Blind Ohio is out? We should probably watch that. And I'm like, and this was before he was sick. So there was no fever. This was just I don't know what was going on with you. it was, and I'm like, really? Like, I've watched, the first couple seasons of Love is Blind.
What's a show you don't like?
It's a show I don't
like. Actively don't care for at all. So I'm just gonna let me throw it out there. Like let's say they decided to do CSI.
I've never seen any of the CSIs.
CSI Parkersburg.
I would probably watch that.
Okay, you're gonna watch a thing from a place you're from. Now, nobody's gonna do Love is Blind, Rio Grande,
CSI
Ohio.
Parkersburg would actually be pretty creative. You've seen some of our council meetings that have gone viral. What happened on one of the if you're listening, hello, Daniel's like, hey, the Parkersburg council meeting is showing up on TikTok. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I went to prom with that guy, one of the council people.
Okay, all right. I'm just, so anyways, I saw Love is Blind, Ohio. And was born in Ohio.
Yep.
Lived in that
right
state
next door
for
to Ohio.
18 years. That's our airport. We go to Columbus for nice weekend trips because we go to the big city, the big old city.
The big old city.
And I work for a company based out of Ohio.
Yeah.
I have to go to that city from time to time. So I am deeply rooted in the state of Ohio. So obviously something like this,
I feel like it's like
you just got to watch. You have to.
It's like my cousin. That I'm going to show up for. Like, other people have been, and I found myself defending Ohio after this show, and I'm like, okay, I can drag them, but you leave them alone. Like, I'm always down for dragging Ohio State,
I liked all the
but
people.
Don't make fun of, like, Columbus. Columbus is actually a nice place.
I liked all the people who would watch the show and be like, how do these guys afford these houses? And we're like, guys, because you live in California and New York.
Yeah.
And
there was one of the people was a doctor on the show, so of course she has a nice house. Nurse practitioners, that's been the big thing. Like, how do these people? They're like, how do all these people afford these nice houses? Like, what's in because that's the downside is you have to live in Ohio, but then that's how you can have the houses. I can say that because they're near us and we live in West Virginia.
One of the people on the show, by the way, I do have to point this out. One of the people on the show, when she doesn't live in her hometown anymore, but they went back to her hometown for an episode.
Is that the one that's near Chillicothe?
Yeah, she got.
We were so excited.
They were within about, give or take, an hour and 20 minutes from us.
And we had to pause
on the TV.
And it was suddenly we're seeing the farm, country, and we're like, oh my gosh.
They're showing B-roll of them driving down there, and all of a sudden I'm like, I've seen this place.
It's just like home.
And then I found out the town, and they're they would have went through our through Chillicothe to get over there, and it's down in Southeast Ohio where I'm from, and that's I see it on TV, and I can smell it I'm there.
The Ohio-ness of it got me, and the fact that Daniel would suggest we watch a reality show together, I was like, sold. Say no more, no notes. So I was like, fine, we'll watch it. I did not finish the Denver season because it was so horrible, and I didn't like anybody. I'm not gonna say the Ohio people came off great either.
No, the guys was a bunch of stinkers.
I feel like it's just always why men do better. I feel like the good men do not want to go on this show. So they get they scrape the bottom of the barrel. I feel like
also I have
Connor
a bone to pick.
one of the only good men on that was on this season.
I have a bone to pick with just about every man who ever goes on a big reality show like this, be it The Bachelor, be it Love Island, be it this. Guys,
this is Love is Blind that you were watching.
I know.
Okay.
I said be it Love Island or this. I know Love Island's a different reality show.
Imperfect Match.
But guys, come on. Watch it. Watch one episode of the thing you're about to be on and pretend like you have any idea what's going on. These guys just And
I think some of that's on production because Alex, who I think was horrible on the show, possibly even worse than Chris in a different way. Those were the two duds of the season. He was said that he got, I don't know if he said this on a podcast, he got recruited from LinkedIn to be on the show. I'm I bet if they did, from my understanding, because each place has been a city except for Ohio, I think they wanted to do Columbus and they couldn't find enough people, so they had to go out to Cleveland, Cincinnati.
By the way, I just want to make
people were dragging the way Cincinnati looked when they were in Connor's area, and I was like, that's exactly how Cincinnati looks.
Ohio's in the top 15 most populous states in the country. It's not like it's some podunk backwater like West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they would do for Love is Blind, West Virginia. I think the CSI Parkersburg show would be more of the get there. what you could do. We were already
I'm
featured
waiting,
in that
yeah,
documentary
like,
about our water. I
again,
have C8 in my
I
blood.
I am waiting for one network show to grow a backbone and actually put one of their police law medical procedural shows in an actual small town, not like the let's use The Paper for an example.
Yeah, that's still like Toledo,
they
right?
went to Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah.
That ain't a small town.
Schitt's Creek is about as good as it gets.
Is about as good at
when
representation.
it comes to a
Y'all
small
don't
town.
understand
We don't even have a Walmart in our town.
what a small town is.
We don't even have a Walmart. So we have we have 2 Dollar Generals though. That'd have to be like where everybody hangs out, the Dollar General parking lots.
There are 2 pharmacies in our county.
Yeah.
Not our town, our county.
Well, I think a really good show would be, again, I know we're saturated with medical drama, but show like a rural, like, kind of, I think West Virginia, we have a level 1 trauma center, I think maybe in Morgantown?
Charleston,
Morgantown.
Yeah.
But like show like one of the smaller ones. That'd be really
anything.
interesting.
I'm not here telling you I'm interested in cop shows because I don't like watching cop shows. But a cop show in a real and an actual small town.
I was watching Cops.
A legal in a small town. Again, an actual small town, not Stars Hollow from the Gilmore Girls. Oh, that happens to be what? 30 minutes from Boston.
You want to see the guy in your small town that pretends to shoot at cars as you drive by.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
The guy that we're out running is walking around with a machete.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's the kind of stuff I want to see.
Like that's the content.
I want to see when you got a shot of the kids hanging out after school, they're all just sitting in their trucks in the bank parking lot.
And we don't want to watch The Wild and Wonderful Whites. We've already seen that.
I want to
Thank
see
you.
an episode of the show when the town finally gets a Taco Bell and everybody loses their minds.
That would be us. So anyway, back to Love is Blind, Ohio. We would get so excited when they would show stuff like we'd be like, oh, we've seen this in Columbus. That's the Arena District.
B-roll of Cincinnati.
Love it.
B-roll of Cleveland. They didn't show much.
They didn't really show much Cleveland.
Not even the people who lived in Cleveland. It didn't seem like they didn't show much of that because I get up there every now and then. But Cincinnati was represented. Columbus obviously was where they had the kind of the hub, so they showed a lot of Cincinnati.
I was instantly disgusted at the beginning of the episode, though, because Nick Lachey, he is from Cincinnati, one of the hosts, and he was like, OH! And I'm like, no, I knew they were going to do it. And I'm like, don't do it. But the 2 of the people that are still together, they're ones that didn't get married, but Bree and Breezy is her name, Bree and Connor. And I actually she's got some heat online, but like, she's the one that she broke things off right before the weddings, and everyone was like, oh, she's being weird, but like, I never saw, it was very Nancy and Jonathan from Stranger Things coded, like, is this a breakup? What is going on here? But like, they did not break up, even though it was a confusing scene, and she was just like, I can't do this. And I really don't think sane, normal, even though I love Christine and Vic, who did get married and are still together, I just think for the most part, sane, rational people wouldn't just be like, oh, let's get married. Like, I think the show does a really good job until that point.
Yeah.
You get to know each other, the emotional connection in the pods, because then they release them, into the wild, and you can go see each other's houses, share the show does give them like an apartment space to film in, but you still are going to their, like, each other's houses. You have a lot of time off camera, which people don't get in the Bachelor series.
The one guy still had his Christmas tree up.
Yeah, Connor, when they went to see his house, that was funny. But I was like, you know what? How I read that scene, I was like, that's cute that he even took the time to put
it's impressive. If I wasn't,
as a bachelor,
if I was single, I would not have any Christmas decorations.
The broken lock on his door and the keg in the front yard, those are other stories. It was very frat housey. But they have a lot of time that they spend off camera getting to know each other. Most of them continue to do their jobs. Like, they take that time off and they go back to work. So it's very grounded in reality until the weddings. And then it's like you get down the aisle, and then it's like, now is the moment to find out, is love blind?
No.
And I think that, like, so she.
But thank you for applying the scientific method to it.
She got some heat on that, but they are still together. And this brings me. I'm circling back to the OHIO thing. One of the things they bonded about in the pods was even though they both are in Ohio, they're both Michigan fans.
There's always those guys.
But you know what? A common hatred of Ohio State will help bond
If
people
you've got
too,
10 people from Ohio, 1 to 2 of them are Michigan fans.
I don't know.
Either they're from Michigan and they're living in Ohio, or they're just a turd who decided I'm going to go against everything and be a Michigan fan.
I think Connor went to OU in Athens for school, I think. But Bree, her family, like her dad, I think is from Michigan. They even so she
they
her Michigan
went
ties,
to
yeah,
Michigan for
to
one
see
of
him.
the
Like her
family
dad
visits.
was off camera because he didn't want to be on camera. Let's see here. So they're still together. Christine and Vic are still together, and I think nobody else is. Mike and Emma not together. That was weird. But you know what? For those two, I feel like Mike is not a bad guy. His family freaked me out a little bit when his mom's like, we're Italian. We call it coffee. Ma'am, you living in Ohio. No one does that. But that's an example of two people that might not be bad people that just didn't want the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, he was very, I give him a lot of credit. He was very clear from the very beginning.
Very,
he
almost to the point
kids,
at nauseum. I'm like, we get it.
And he stuck to his guns on it. And she wasn't ready for it. I mean, that's a very valid and real reason to not be together. It sucks because it does seem like, one, they were decent people, and two, it seems like they had a good connection and relationship. But if you can't get along with that, that's a
deal breaker for people. And it's good to figure out now than down the road.
Yeah.
Jordan and Amber, a couple that did get married and did not last. I was actually sad about that because I was rooting for them. She lives in Mount Vernon, Ohio. I know where that is. It's only like an hour from Columbus, but this man was acting like he was like 4 hours away. He's like, where can I?
He can't get to his bars.
I know. And I'm like, dude, you're coming into a stepfather role. You're an adult. Do you need to go to the bars every night? That's weird. That's called somebody that wasn't ready for marriage. So
see, now I'm gonna say some inside Ohio stuff here for a second. Because as much as everybody crapped on Ohio who wasn't from Ohio, the same amount of the big C
Ohioans,
people, the big C people, the big C folks, the Columbus, the Cleveland, the Cincinnati people crap on every place else that's not one of those three. And that's annoying too.
Well, you grew up in a place that people called you might as well from West Virginia as an insult.
That's correct.
You should take that as a, turn it around. Like one could say she pulled a Monica, like turn it around, like make it a good thing. Like you're always, we have always joked that while I'm born and raised in West Virginia, that I am more Ohio than you, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm not from, as countrified of an area. But yeah, I'm like, these people would not survive because I think like Mount Vernon. Does Mount Vernon still have a Starbucks? That's always my thing.
Mount Vernon's like, I think we look it up, the population of Mount Vernon while the show was on. And it's
I'm gonna look up right now.
Like bigger
if they have a Starbucks.
Yeah, like it's crazy the way these people talk about these. Again, there's no representation of small town life anywhere to be found on the TV anywhere. It's crazy.
People just don't get it. Okay, this is saying, oh my gosh, did Hannah live near Mount Vernon? Because this is Coshocton Avenue, where she used to, it says, try our new menu, Coshocton Avenue, Mount Vernon, Ohio. She lived in Coshocton. That's another town. So that's and it looks to me like there are two. So that is my, that is my reference. You guys are like, don't you go to Starbucks all the time, Hope? Yes, I do, and I drive a half hour to it. There and back, but these people, like, they would not survive. So I would be remiss if I didn't, in this podcast, we already kind of talked about Alex and his nomadic lifestyle, and if you didn't know, he's like he really liked soccer. Ugh. What do you think he's up to these days? I know he's on Cameo.
Well, he's not playing. He clearly doesn't have a soccer career because he took Donatello out.
That's Devontae. Oh, you're talking about Devontae, the other guy. Yeah. Okay.
Out to kick soccer balls, and he scored on him.
Yeah.
Way more times than he should have. Yeah. Considering he never played soccer, and this guy made a soccer career. So
that guy was weird. I feel like he gave very much he never get his story straight. It was the whole thing with him was odd. But Chris, I don't find Chris attractive at all, especially now. But he was one that he fooled me in the beginning of this, where I'm like, this is an example of where personality can make somebody look, because love is not blind. Personality can make you look better or it can make you look worse. And I felt like at the beginning, I was like, I really think that him and Jessica could work. They had such a connection. And I'm like, he's kind of cute. Now he repulses me because the true colors came out. He's always talking about like his cold plunges. I was like, that should have been red flag number 1 for me. If you do
It
cold
was for
plunge,
me, but
that's fine.
By the way, did I
it
not
did.
say that?
You clocked that. And I was like, well, maybe, that is like the thing with fitness, blah, blah, blah. So they go to tour her house, and she had probably the nicest house of the show because she is a licensed doctor. So, of course, she has a really nice house. I think he saw her house, got emasculated immediately, and roll Sabrina Carpenter's man-child. Completely did a 180 personality. I do think there were definite political divisions that came about that, according to Jessica, they did talk about in the pods, and he lied about it. I don't know if he thought he could change her. I don't know what was going on. But I feel like Jessica, you remember what she looked like?
Yep.
Remember he was like, I like girls that do Pilates. Like acting like she's some cow. And I'm like, have you looked in the mirror? And so we did watch the entire season's out. The After the Altar, which is like, usually they film that a couple weeks before it airs. I think the actual season of Love is Blind filmed like last April was when the weddings took place. So it was like that February, March, April time slot. But then they do After the Altar, like after we've seen it, they get the cast together like a week or 2 before the season drops. Maybe like even a week before. So that is the hardest I've ever seen Nick Lachey go on any contestant on that show. He kept his foot on that guy's neck. You even pointed out, you're like, wow, Nick is giving it to this guy. What do you think about that? Because the hosts have been criticized before for going soft on him.
Like, I'm neutral on Nick Lachey. Like, I don't have a huge opinion.
You didn't go to a 98 Degrees concert like me.
I did not. But like, I respect him because he, like you said, he was the host of the show. So you're kind of expecting him to be a little bit of the mediating force in there. And that was not the role he was playing. He was going at him.
I think he took it personally as like, he's like, you've let down Ohio men. Like,
well, they all did. I mean, most of the men did. They were not a representation. It seems like the good ones all left for West Virginia. So
Daniel, would you watch Love is Blind again? Only if they do West Virginia.
Yeah. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me propose something to you. I would probably watch Love is Blind Pittsburgh.
Oh,
I feel like that. Don't do Love is Blind Pennsylvania.
I
Come
don't
on.
think they would. There are 2 cities in Pennsylvania. I don't even know. I think we've been talking for like forever. I don't know what else to say to end this episode. That's going to be my comment.
Thank you all for listening. I think I need to take a shower.